Welcome to ISE's FX Options Weekly Outlook, a weekly outlook on the US dollar versus the major currencies, hosted by Jason Ayres, a top industry instructor and founder of OptionSource.net. Learn to trade your views on the strength or weakness of the US dollar.
Hi there and welcome to the ISE FX Options Weekly Outlook for December 15th to the 22nd. I'm your host Jason Ayres, founder and president of OptionSource.net. As always, we're going to start with a look at our weekly U.S. dollar index. This is a great way to gain some perspective as to how the U.S. dollar has been trading against a basket of currencies. We finally saw the dollar index make a significant pullback after several weeks of testing that 87 to 88 focal zone. As we'd been suggesting, the 84 to 85 area was our next near-term target, with some anticipation that the U.S. dollar may find support here. Now, a look at our daily snapshot is suggesting that we were looking at the formation of what appears to be a head and shoulders topping pattern. A break and a close below that 84 level is a confirmation, and we need to be now open to the possibility of further backfilling. Although in the bigger picture, we are still looking at this as this decline as the U.S. dollar being in a natural retracement after such an impressive move. That 81 to 82 focal zone is critical with respect to supporting this thesis. Of course, if the dollar consolidates and finds support here, that 87 to 88 focal zone still remains an important resistance level to any continued move to the upside. First up, the ISE FX Options Pair Value CDD, which reflects the US dollar against the Canadian dollar. We saw another rejection at the 128 to 130 focal zone that we have had on our radar since mid-October. Now, last week we suggested that the 122 to 124 area represented a key level of support, and as we can see here, the pair value attempted to push lower but recovered Friday to close back above this zone. Now, we are still looking at the possibility of an ascending triangle, continuation triangle forming, which would suggest further U.S. dollar strengthening against the Canadian dollar. However, that 128 to 130 level seems to be a tough level to break. At this point, we are open to the possibility of a further decline, and a break below 122 will likely see the CDD seek support within the 116 to 118 box. We were looking at the 91.5 to the 92.5 focal zone as being an important area of support for the YUK, the US versus the Japanese yen. Now, although momentum appears to support a further decline in this pair value, at this stage we are expecting some form of consolidation within this range. The 88 to 89 box represents the next logical target to the downside should the US dollar weaken further against the yen. Next up, the EUI, the U.S. versus the euro. Well, the U.S. dollar suffered perhaps the most damage against this particular currency as the pair value broke that 77 to 78 support that we had identified last week. Now, our outlook last week suggested a near-term target down at the 75 to 76 range. However, at this stage, with a break below this key focal zone, the path of least resistance appears to be a test down into the 72-73 box. Let's move on to the BPX, the U.S. versus the pound. Last week we observed a second test of the 68 to 69 focal zone and suggested that a near-term target to the downside could be found between 65 and 66. Now, although we did see a pullback, this zone still remains an important area of support, and we are open to the possibility of a further decline into this area. Now, support here would likely yield another test of that 68 to 69 focal zone. A definitive break above 69 would see us testing that 71 to 72 box that has been on our radar for several weeks now. And finally, let's look at the AUX, the US versus the Australian dollar. Now, despite Thursday's strong breakdown into a lower range, the AUX spent most of the week consolidating within the 150 to 152 focal zone. Now, further strengthening of the US dollar against the Australian dollar is likely to meet with some resistance in at the 154 and 155 area. At this point, we have to be open to the possibility that this is merely a natural consolidation before a continuation to test support down within the 143 to 145 box. Okay, let's take a look at this week's key points. First of all, our thesis continues to be bullish for the U.S. dollar over the longer time frame. However, we are now testing a key support on the weekly U.S. dollar index. We are open to the possibility of a deeper retracement down towards the 81 to 82 focal zone, which still would support our bigger picture bullish outlook on the U.S. dollar. However, at that point, we would definitely have to reconsider our outlook. The CDD and the BPX rejected off of their key resistance levels but continue to hold at their near short-term support, suggesting the possibility for yet another test of the pair value highs. The EUI is showing the most weakness out of all of our pair values, with momentum suggesting a test of the next lower focal zone as being a high probability. The AUX is consolidating within a key focal zone. We are looking for a test of the 154, 155 level. However, momentum also continues to support further declines. Finally, the YUK is testing a key support. We're going to watch for some consolidation here between the 91 to 94 focal zones before any directional commitment is made. Now, folks, this has been your ISE FX Options Weekly Outlook for the 15th to the 22nd. This is Jason Ayres, founder and president of OptionsSource.net. Thanks for joining me here this week. We'll see you here next week.
Thank you for participating in this week's session. Please join us again next week. For more information about Jason Ayres and to sign up for free FX Options trade alerts, just visit www.optionsource.net. To learn more about ISE FX Options, including our weekly webinar series, visit us at www.ise.com/fx. ISE FX Options can easily be traded through all options-enabled brokerage accounts. These exchange-listed securities are cash-settled in U.S. dollars and have a European-style exercise.